round corner men head, the bank on a face. Some little spill on the floor. Well, a long time ago, family feud the big gun. Father not like the father, son not like the son. Ben not like you bang not like Ben. Put your hand in the ear, let me sing that again. Listen, a long time ago, the feud them the gun. Father not like the father, son not like the son. Ben not like you bang, two of them not friend. Push your hand in the ear. Why push your hand in the ear for the you bang Ben? You bang Ben. Shut your shoe, yeah. I'm a dancing. Round corner Ben is I got me head. You bang crack me head.
I should have got an egg, man. I should have got an egg and showed it.
Morning, good people. Good morning. How's it going today, sir? What is up, good people? You're watching Brudsy Entertainment. Good morning. This is a little sports roundup with my main man, Nicky New. What's happening, bro?
Good morning, Brodsy. How are you, man?
Fantastic, bro. Fantastic. Crystal Palace won the FA Cup yesterday for the first time ever. I feel like we just have to start there.
Yeah.
I'll get you to give me your initial thoughts on the game straight away.
Very proud of Crystal Palace. Well done to them.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for their fans. You know, you're from London. You know how much
Indeed.
that means to the people of Crystal Palace. They're this under the radar London club. And, you know, a good friend of mine, Brodsy from round here, is a Palace fan. He had them down for the win before Newcastle game. He was going to put a bet on. And I don't think he'd done it in the end. But he had this funny feeling that Palace were going to do it. Yourself, are you happy as a United fan that they lost?
Ecstatic. One, obviously, Palace is obviously, it's about a mile or 2 miles from where I was brought up, so really happy for them. Obviously, City, it's nice to see them not being so dominant in football anymore. It's lovely to see that, to be honest with you. Let's start with the game, first of all. One contentious moment in the game. Let's start with that. Dean Henderson came out, and let's start with a handball first, straight away.
Yeah.
It looked like Haaland was through on the goal, and Dean Henderson puts his hands out the box and quite clearly swipes it off his feet. And no red card was given. Like, the Man City fans are furious about that, to be honest with you. I'm stuck in the past because I actually thought it was the old rules where as long as your feet were in the box, you could sort of lean out. But obviously that's changing now. You can't put your hands outside the box. And it was quite clearly, like, some people are saying it wasn't a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Wayne Rooney saw it and he was like, nah, that's a straight red card. He was banging. He was unhappy. Like, most people were generally unhappy. But the fact that it's City, people are willing to let it slide.
Mate, it was unbelievable. All of the professionals said that was a red card. You know, he's handballed the ball outside the area. As far as I knew, it was always, if the goalkeeper's outside the box, regardless of where the feet are, right? As far as I knew, it was always a case of handball. And to call that not a goal-scoring opportunity, no, come on, man. It's Haaland.
It's Haaland, yeah. You have to.
It's not Højlund. It's not Højlund.
Fuck off. Starting already, boy. This is a leave Man United alone stream today, bro. We're in recovery, bro. Everyone is just literally, we're in recovery. You know, we're waiting for the party on Wednesday. Leave Man United alone today.
That's right.
Yes, but that's fair. That's fair. To be fair, it is Haaland. You know, and one would think if the keeper doesn't touch that ball and he's going to go around him and he's good enough on his right foot, I would say, to put that cross goal and score from there. Yeah. So Man City fans rightly pissed off, rightly unhappy. But
let me just talk about the sorry, Brod. What I was astounded at was the statistics. Again, we covered the statistics yesterday, and I enjoyed that a lot. But today I was looking at the 79% possession, Brod. Right? Mm-hmm. How do you lose a football match on 79% possession? Okay. And I think it was something like 29 shots on target in total, 23 off target, 6 on target for Manchester City. Mm-hmm. And then, 21% possession and you're winning the final as well. That's it's not right, is it? It's something weird about that.
Well, possession doesn't win your football games. That's the clear message. Possession doesn't win your football games. That's the when you most likely if you have that much possession, people will naturally assume you're going to create more chances, which they did, and obviously convert some of those chances. Unfortunately, they didn't. Let's start with what about the penalty? Haaland, a striker, a full-blooded striker, a killing machine up front. And in an FA Cup final, he decides to hand the ball over. That tells me a lot. Like, that really does tell me a lot, because you want your... You've listened to Alan Shearer, Gary Lineker, Rooney. Doesn't matter how bad their form is, they're taking that penalty. No one's taking that ball off them. So the fact that
Right.
Haaland just gave that ball up, what
Yeah.
do we say?
It's terrible, mate. I was listening to Paul Merson the other day on Dodge Woodhall, who you'll be familiar with. He's a podcaster like yourself,
Yeah.
Brad C. And they were talking about the penalties in one of the World Cups. Okay, I think it was Euro '96, maybe. And the discussion was centered around the centre forwards that don't take responsibility because they practice striking the ball all the time. So, given how good he is in front of goal, I mean, do you think he bottled it? Can we just put the cards on the table? Did he bottle it?
He 100%
And
bottled.
why did he bottle it? Is it a confidence crisis? What's going on?
It's yeah, he's had an injury. This has not been his best season by his standards. It's not been his best season.
Uh-huh.
It's obviously not been Man City's best season as well by their high standards that they've set. Is it just look? Let's going on to. I mean, we can stay on that.
No, no, hold on, hold
He-
on. I just wanted to mention, right? We talk
yeah,
about Haaland,
yeah,
we talk about De Bruyne, and
mm,
rightly so. These are top quality players,
yeah,
right? But I just want to mention Eberici Eze
yeah,
because he is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant professional footballer.
yeah.
And he's been showing that over the last 2 seasons. He was even better when they had Zaha in the team.
Mm-hmm.
It was Zaha, wasn't it?
Saha, yeah,
Who eventually left because he didn't want to play for another Premier League club.
yeah,
But I've got to say, Eberici Esse, I bet the Palace fans, like all of their players, are very proud of them, but especially that fella.
yeah, yeah.
He's been brilliant this season.
I'm actually a bit upset by his performance because we were tipped to buy him, and now he's probably put about 30 million on his price tag now. Unfortunately, an FA Cup final win, he's probably put an extra 30 million. So yeah, so the Palace owners are going to be laughing, to be honest with you.
But the thing is, you wouldn't if you was playing for Palace, you wouldn't. I feel like I'm ribbing United a bit. I
No,
don't want
no, no, no.
to.
Trust me.
You wouldn't really want to go to United if you was at Palace at the
I
moment, would you?
like I said to you, Man United, we still keep the name, the title, the size of the club, the history. That doesn't get wiped away. Even like it would take I think another 10 years of being mediocre the way we are now for that to diminish. That's not going anywhere just yet. Yes, the top players, but if like every like what is quite clearly showing as well, this Premier League is that one, it's the hardest league in the world. It's the hardest league in the world. If you don't turn up every single week, you're getting your ass turned over. That's just it. Simple as that. And that's something that I feel like Man United we've struggled with because the big games we've put in a performance, but and we've won some games. We're not Arsenal at the FA Cup,
Yeah, exactly.
So we can do it for the big games, but we just need to build it up for the other ones. But back to Eze, sorry, stunning performance. It's so remember I was mentioning to you the other day about the fans and stuff like that, like
Yeah,
the fans that don't not used to winning anything, they don't expect to win anything,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
them Crystal Palace fans yesterday, the men. They did it. They literally, it's like watching their daughters get married or something. Is that kind of feeling because it's just the unknown. They're not used to seeing this. So it meant a lot to those fans. I'm so glad Newcastle got the Carabao Cup, and now Palace have got the FA Cup. So it's fantastic for them.
Let me just put some controversy into some of your comments there, as we do, Brad. You and I,
Go
we
for it,
love
sir.
a bit of it, don't we? You've just talked about Arsenal being a big game, and I'm not too sure about that. And I think looking at Manchester City's reaction yesterday on the telly of how they took the loss,
Mm.
when I was listening to De Bruyne, he was very much shrugging his shoulders. He had a big smile on his face and seemed like he was looking forward to a transfer next season or whatever.
Yep.
He didn't say anything much about losing the game. It was very much shrugged off. Now, what I wanted to ask you is the FA Cup a big game anymore? Do the likes of Arsenal and Manchester City really care about the FA Cup? I don't think they do.
One thing I'll say to you for certain: if those clubs don't care about it, their fans fucking do care about it.
Yeah, I know, but they
That's
don't care
all.
about their fans. They care
The
about money.
Yeah, 1,000%. A lot like Arsenal, it's a business. It is run like a business. Man City, I'd say slightly different because they don't necessarily need money. They've got billionaire owners from Saudi. They don't
Yeah.
necessarily need that. They're not watching the pennies kind of
Yeah,
the
but
way
you've got to
Arsenal.
balance the
Yeah, you got to balance the books, and they're facing some serious charges at the minute. I don't know if they've all been cleared or whatever
That's right.
because of the way they've been balancing their books and stuff, sneaky little deals here and there.
Yeah.
But trust me, I feel like it doesn't matter what the club think and the owners think. Football is about the fans. Arsenal
No,
fans,
it's not.
Arsenal fans will tell you, because I feel like the fans' opinion matters more. That's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm coming from, and I'm telling you
I
right
hear you,
now,
Brad. I hear you, and I take it on board.
The Arsenal fans would 1,000% would have preferred to win that FA Cup rather than finishing in the semi-finals in the Champions League. Like, they would have, because they want to win.
Right,
They want to
fair
win
enough,
things.
yeah. But if I told you the prize money for the joke cup that no one cares about anymore, right, is £2 million for the winner.
Yeah.
What's that? 3 players' wages for a week?
Is that the FA Cup?
I beg your pardon. What's that? 6 players' wages? 7 players' wages for a week?
Is that the FA Cup you're
I
talking about?
believe it's yeah. How much
Yeah,
prize? Yeah,
I don't feel like any respectable fan can actually call the FA Cup a joke cup. It's not a joke cup. Like, that's the oldest cup in England. Like, I don't think you can a fan can call the FA Cup a joke cup.
no
Like,
one cares about it anymore, mate.
snobby. They do 1,000% they do. You're wrong there, buddy. If you spoke to any fan, I'm telling you right now, any fan, except for some of the City and Liverpool, they've got a bit of ego about them. They've won the Champions League in coming up in recent seasons. They've won the Premier Leagues and stuff. They may look down at it from that perspective, but the FA Cup has always been considered the one to win for
As Roy
me.
Keane says, until they put the prize money up, there's a reason why Ronnie O'Sullivan will miss the black on a 147 and
Mm,
score a 140 when the prize money is £4,000 for a 147 break. The prize money is a disgrace, right?
mm,
And it's a disgrace to the clubs. It's a disgrace to the players, considering the amount of games you have to play
yep.
and what you have to put into winning. In my personal opinion, what I'm trying to say, in a way, is the prize money just again, I like to look at things from the business side of things as well. You're
Yep.
putting out all that output, and you're risking your players, and they're going to have like sore legs from a lot of those games. For what? For what? 7 players' bloody wages? 2 weeks, one
Yeah.
week's worth of wages.
That's not the way. That's just not the way football fan. And this is the thing. That's just not the way football fans that support their team think. They don't like you. You could have just looking at those Palace fans yesterday. The faces,
Yeah,
their
it's brilliant.
emotion,
It's brilliant.
priceless.
Yeah,
Like
it's brilliant.
priceless.
Yeah.
They do you think any one of those fans, any one of those players, were thinking about £2 million? Like, they're not thinking about that.
I think the players were, and I think the club. I think,
Nah, the
well,
players they.
let me finish. Right, I think the players understand how poor the money is because I've heard them talking about it several times.
Mm,
Right, I've heard them actually talking about it several times. Yeah,
yeah,
I've heard professionals talking about it several times. I've heard Gary Lineker talking about it several times.
yeah,
The money's really bad for the FA Cup.
yeah,
And it's good for the fans here. I'm not disagreeing. I'm very, very delighted for the Palace fans. You've only got to go back to 1990 and look at what Ian Wright did in the FA Cup and how the Palace fans reacted in 1990. John Solarco and all them lot, Eric Young, etc., 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 to see how much it means to the fans, and even and every single year since then, right? So it does mean a lot to the fans, but do the clubs even care about the fans these days? Are the fans bringing enough money for the clubs to really care about them? You wonder these things. You start to wonder these things, and also with fans. Can I just point out, mate, having taught in schools for many, many years, okay, what do you, and I live in Southeast England as well, right? There's a lot of you lots and all different types of fans around here, including Man United fans.
yep.
When I was teaching in the schools, what do you think the most popular shirts were when I was teaching in schools?
What? Beckham's, Cantona's, Ian
No,
Wright's.
this is over the past 15 to 20 years. So you can even go back 2, 3 years, whatever. What were the most popular football shirts in this area in the southeast
Oh,
when I was teaching at schools? Have a guess.
probably Ronaldo, Messi's,
That's right. That's
Ronaldo,
right.
Messi's. The big
Ronaldo,
boys.
Messi, and Mbappe.
Yeah,
Ronaldo, Messi, and Mbappe. But
Neymar.
all the PSG fans, the young ones,
Mm,
when Messi went to America, well, they all of a sudden wearing those pink ones, right? So I think the new crop of football fans no longer follow clubs like you traditional fans do, and
yep,
it's charming what you do. But I'm more of a person who follows players. You won't like that, but I prefer to follow players.
yep. I hear that. And there's there's different types of fans, and there are, like, my brother, perfect example, like, exactly like that. Whenever a good player was playing, when he would change his team all the time, like, that's just kind of person he is. But those kind of people, they're not they're football fans, they're football, like, they're football appreciate, they appreciate good footballers, but they support more, like you said, players. And
Yeah,
most people are fans and they support their team. And if the people that actually support a team, they will tell, like I just keep going back to the Palace fans' faces yesterday, like,
really good, really good.
and the Premier League, you have to think about it, like, I don't get caught up. I don't think fans should get caught up in what the FA Cup pays. Like, it's not important. I think the lowest paid Premier League player probably earns about £2 million a year. I'm probably being kind. He probably earns more than £2 million a year. So these footballers nowadays are multi-millionaires. Even when a kid's 16 to 21, he's already made
It's the club.
generational
It's
wealth.
the club I'm thinking about. Your resources are getting damaged over a shitty £2 million competition.
Nah, it's
And
not
you've got
shitty.
bigger
You
and
can't.
better things.
I'm not allowing you to call the FA
I
Cup
just
shitty,
said
mate.
it, mate, and it's been said by many, many fans and many,
S-
many pundits, mate. Money.
snobby fans like that that their club, they're used to seeing their club win the big trophies, will definitely look down on the FA Cup. But most English football fans will not allow you to call the FA Cup shitty, mate.
Mate, at the end of the day, if you, I'm coming from it from owning a football club's perspective or being a business as a football club. Why would you risk expensive resources for such little prize money?
That's what we played. That's what they lace the boots up for, mate. That's
Nice
what they,
one.
that, that's some. That's what players lace their boots up for,
I
so
think
they
you're
can win.
delusional. You're showing your age.
Nah, 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 nah. Players, there is an element of mercenary type footballers that, like, just play for the money. They don't not really too bothered about football. There's definitely an element of that, but I feel like most players, when they look back on their careers, they want to be able to say, "I won something," and no matter
I'm,
what it is,
yeah,
they
I'm
they
more. Go on,
yeah.
go on. Sorry, Brad.
No, I was just gonna say they may never ever expected to have won something, but most players, like, I can think of myself, like, for the little FA Cup, little not FA Cup, but, like, the little Power League tournaments that I've played in. I've still got my medal somewhere upstairs. I'm happy about it. Let alone the fucking FA Cup
Yeah, I
badge.
know. We're talking about two different things. I'm thinking about the poor owner of Manchester City, whose players are worth an absolute fortune, right? Thinking to himself, how many games have we played for this runty £2 million? This pathetic £2 million, because the money for winning the FA Cup, as Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer both say, is absolutely pathetic. And they said it themselves about 2 seasons ago. This is the reason why some of the big clubs aren't overly interested in the FA Cup. Oh well, we lost. Never mind. But if you're Palace, yeah, when you don't win anything and your team's not accustomed to winning stuff, I understand. And I've got to say, I agree with what you're saying about the fans. The fans are beautiful, one of the most beautiful things about football, but I am no mug, right? I'm not prepared for that, right? That's I can't really be a proper fan of a club like you, because it's too much pressure, I feel. I can't handle the pressure of it. I bottle job it as a fan, right?
Yeah.
I can't handle it. But I'm really coming here from the owner of the club or the club itself. Imagine sitting there watching your club in something that pays your business a runty, despicable amount of money, thinking, mate, Ireland could get injured there. He could do his cruciate over this shambles of a competition. Whereas in the Champions League, I don't think that that would even cross their mind because of the amount of prize money coming in. That's what I'm saying, Brad. I'm not talking about the players or the fans. Of course, the players want to win. Of course, the fans want to win. But I'm thinking behind the scenes. You're saying about beating Arsenal in this big game. Was it a big game? Was the FA Cup, Man United playing 16th in the league in the competition that doesn't pay any money, a big game? To the fans, yes. To the pundits,
We're on total different planets there of this sort of thought process,
I don't
because
think it's a big game.
I don't. It's a massive game. Like, Man United
For you,
Arsenal,
yeah,
yeah.
for you,
Man
but
United Arsenal is a massive game in the FA Cup. Like,
yeah, but miles bigger in the Champions League is my point. If you was Man
no,
United,
I'm not going to argue
Arsenal,
that. I'm not going to argue that.
that's what I'm trying to
I'm not
say.
going to argue that.
I don't want to come across too disrespectful to the FA Cup, but at the same token, I want to make it very clear that everybody knows it is underpaid. And I think from a football club's
Yeah,
business standpoint, Brad,
yeah.
it's not good because they're playing a lot of games, right? They're playing a lot of games. You know, Haaland, he's looking a bit. Has he got an injury? Is he all right?
He's just coming back from an injury, and
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, confidence. This season's been shocking. Like Man City, they there's a possibility of Man City not finishing in the Champions League this year.
There is.
If they lose their last two games, and Villa, I think it's Villa
Newcastle.
and Newcastle, but Newcastle are playing Arsenal today, aren't they? I
Yeah,
think. Yeah,
yeah.
so so they're going to take points off each other. So I feel like Man City will be okay. Top five for the Champions League is obviously going to be interesting. But let's move on from this. Let's go over to Pep's reaction. Sulking like a baby. I mean, unquestionably, it meant something to him. Like, you know, and one thing for sure we've seen this season, Pep, he ain't all there at the minute, mate. He refused to shake Dean Henderson's hand. And had a little bite at him as well. He's literally lost the plot. I don't know if you saw the videos earlier in the season when he had all those scratch marks on the head when he was
I
just
scratched my
literally,
face. I scratched my face.
yeah, literally. I hurt myself. Literally, he
Yeah,
said.
yeah. You know, I thought to myself when I saw him scratching his face, I thought, mate, I feel sorry for your Corey. No, I'm joking. Something's definitely wrong with him. He's struggling. He's
Yeah,
struggling.
he's not used to this. Like
No, no.
he's been ultra successful,
Yep,
and this season, literally, like, you know, Man City just been getting shit on. Literally, I
yep.
think they've probably lost just as, like, not as many games as us, but they've been nowhere near where they used to be. Like, you know,
I agree.
losing
I agree.
even when they had the head to head against Forest, like, and this was for the champ. This was a potential 6-pointer, and Forest went over there and turned them over. Like, you know,
Yeah,
and. Yeah, Man City, they just people are saying, is it an end of their era? Is it the end of the
yeah.
Pep
I've heard
reign?
that.
And
I've heard that. Yeah.
is it the end of them? Like, you know,
Do you think it is?
I think they'll come back stronger. They'll come back stronger. They've got the money, so they'll buy players. It's just finding that, like you said, De Bruyne is done. Like, you know, Gundogan, he's on the bench. Like, you know, a lot of their players, it's an
Grealish.
age. Grealish, Grealish has been a flop. But I think by most people's standards, I know he won the treble, he won the triple last season and stuff. But by most Man City fans, like, you know, even Foden,
Yeah.
like, you know, Grealish and
Oh,
Foden have
yeah. Yeah.
they've been non-existent this season.
This
To be
season,
honest with
yeah.
you,
Agree.
non-existent. Foden had one really good season, I would say, and then this season, like, he looks like a totally different player, mate. Not
Yeah.
the
He does,
same.
yeah.
I think
Um,
City's reign is over. Like, they're in the same position that most people are going to be in. They need to go and find. Yes, the superstars are great, but like I was mentioning to you yesterday, there's players out there that don't have names that are just building their careers. We need to get out the scouting. It's so crucial that the scouting systems get out there and find these players before they come household names. Before they come household names, that way you don't have to spend an extra 50 million on them.
but you're taking a massive, massive risk. I think United are scared of taking those really big risks like that.
Now we are, because
You know,
we
because it's
bought some.
happened
Yeah,
before. Yeah, look
yeah,
at Anthony, etc., etc. I mean,
yeah.
Anthony's having a fantastic time over at Betis, though, hasn't he? Since he's left the
Insane.
lot.
I'm seeing worldie every week. He's scoring
Rashford,
worldies.
Rashford's beating players for Villa.
Rashford will always beat players. It's just Rashford is a victim of Amram's system, his meticulous planning to his system, his meticulous attention to detail. Like, you know, every single thing needs to be, like, checked. So Rashford needs to be doing this, he needs to be doing that, he needs to be running back here. Rashford just looked pissed off. He didn't like it. Like, you know, so I feel like you put Rashford up front, any team, he's good for 15 goals a season, I would say.
Yeah,
If you put him up front, good
agree.
for 15 goals a season. I know he likes to play on the left, cut in and shoot on his right, but for
Yeah.
me, you put him up top, use his pace, like, you know, and he's a 15 goal a man season.
I'm sorry, but he's at a much better team.
Villa, no, we can't, unquestionably at the minute,
And
unquestionably.
Nottingham Forest are a miles better team than United at the moment. I mean, I never thought I'd mutter those words.
Unquestionably, I can't argue. The stats don't lie, mate. The stats don't lie. This is the problem, though. Because, like, you know, when you sign for Man United, even though we haven't been successful as we used to be in previous years, there's unlimited pressure on us, on the
Agree.
players.
Have to agree.
On the
England.
pressure
Yeah.
is like the standard from 10 years ago when we used to winning stuff, and this is what I think
Right.
hurts some players. Like Villa aren't expected to win anything. Villa, they're having a great season. They got to the quarterfinals, Champions League, and obviously doing well in the league. But there's no pressure on the pressure. The pressure at Man United just kills you, even to the point of press. The media press. They will jump on you. They'll jump on you and they'll burn you, and especially if you're a player of color as well. They will get you. It's like, I don't want to go off on one, but the other day, Rashford was at the boxing match, the Eubanks Junior the
Yeah.
Eubanks Junior fight, yeah, and he sat right next to Declan Rice. Declan Rice midweek has got a PSG massive game. The media just pulled out Rashford. Like, Rashford, look, on his day off, he goes to watch football. He's all about the bling life, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait a minute. Declan Rice is sitting right next to him, and he's got a PSG game in 2 days. So, that's another matter, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Declan Rice was there. Rashford was there. But listen, sticking on the football of things, Rashford, I never thought he would leave United.
No.
Because of his background and what he'd done when he was younger. But it looked like in the end he couldn't wait to get
Yeah.
out of it. Now, I wanted to ask you just quickly, Brad. I just mentioned Forest a minute ago. How much have they spent recently?
Forest, they bought Alanga. They spent. I'm not sure exactly what they spent. But they've
But they've
they've
spent well. They've
they've spent
spent
well.
well.
They've definitely spent well indeed. Definitely spent well. And
You know,
I don't even know how much did Forest play for Alanga. Let's have a
good
look.
few million, good few million. But mate, I won't. With the FA Cup as well. I mean,
Yeah, you're gonna upset a lot of people with that one, bud.
yeah, good, good.
You're
Right?
gonna upset a lot. You're gonna
Yeah,
upset, and trust me, there'll be a lot of fans that'll
yeah,
be
good,
upset with you.
good. I
You
want them. I want them to be upset. They should be upset with their football club for committing to such a useless trophy that's worth 2 million.
you see, this is the thing that people will say. The fact that you've openly admitted that you're a player supporter rather than a team supporter,
Yeah.
like most people will, like true football fans will listen to that and they'll say you're not a real football fan.
Yeah, good.
You don't
That's
support.
what they want, mate. They're entitled to their opinion, and I respect them, and I respect all of them. But 2 million is a shambles, and I can understand why big clubs would not really be overly bothered about winning or losing the FA Cup. But your points are very valid. The players, when they get to the end of their season, I totally agree. Some of those Manchester City players at the end of their career might look back at that. I could have had another FA Cup. Could have had, you know. So, and I do think the fans deserve those days out. But I
Mm,
am talking people who hear this purely business. It is a shambles of a £2 million for winning the FA Cup. If anyone can actually argue that it isn't a shambles in this day and age and compare all of the other prize monies against it, please let's talk.
yeah. Okay. I mean, for me, I've never really been caught up on what the clubs earn for cups and
But
stuff
it's
personally.
got to come into the conversation because your assets are getting their freaking cruciates
Yeah.
damaged and all this sort of stuff. Like it's not like you're
Back in the day, like I said to you, back in the day when we used to be winning stuff, winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League every year and stuff. Like Fergie got criticised. A lot of clubs used to get criticised for playing weak teams in the FA Cup. It was definitely it definitely used to be like that for the teams that won everything. It used to be like that. So I'm not gonna lie there. You're totally right there. But nowadays, where the Premier League has just turned on its head, where every team can freaking turn you over, everyone is fighting for something. Even the big, do you know, like winning that FA Cup might even have saved Arteta's career. People are saying next season, does he get another season? Is he going to get fired? So that's that's what you're going to be judged on, what you've won. And at the minute, not a lot. So let's move over to the boxing side of it anyway. An anticipated rematch, Dave Allen versus Johnny Fisher yesterday.
yeah,
I love it when this kind of fight happens because, there is a brilliant anticipated rematch, and the conclusion was clear and decisive. There's no arguing, there's no ref, there's no BS. Dave Allen whooped his ass.
yeah, he did, yeah. He whooped his ass in the first one and won the first fight, which was either rigged or the referee's been paid off or the judges have been paid off, a la fixed boxing. Then you had that Bosch, I think it's Johnny Fisher's dad, um, bullying Gareth A. Davis,
Yep.
who's clearly an articulate, gentle, nice person, and apparently he crossed some imaginary line. And I think when Johnny Fisher's dad started with all of that, I think that precipitated a lot of boxing fans to want Johnny Fisher to lose. So, it's been all over social media now. The second thing is as well with Johnny Fisher, what I found very strange when my friend Chat a Lot of Boxing interviewed his trainer Tibbs. There was no confidence there at all. He was looking for answers in the interview where he didn't quite believe in his own hype. And then Johnny Fisher in the weigh-in, he was saying something like, "Do you believe in me?" And I thought, "What are you saying that for? You don't need to say that in a press conference, mate. It's too late for that." So Johnny Fisher's been found out. Dave Allen's a miles better boxer. Johnny Fisher was being hyped up as this Romford bull, Eddie Hearn. As apparently Turkey Al Sheikh's been taking the mickey out of Eddie Hearn via text message because yet another one of his big prize fighters is been found out.
Yeah, I think this is the problem sometimes with glossy records and stuff, fighting
Mm,
nobodies.
mm.
Like it just doesn't make any sense anymore. I mean, it makes perfect sense financially for the boxer. Obviously, you pad your record up with loads of bums, basically. Not bums, that's not a nice thing to say, but loads of winnable
Easy
fights, like
wins, yeah.
winnable fights. You pad your record up. You come up against Dave Allen. Now, Dave Allen is kind of like the entry point for like the top 10 heavyweights. Like he's like the entry point. If you can beat Dave Allen, you can get a Chisora fight. You can get a Dylan White fight.
Yeah.
You can get like Hergovich fight. Like one. Sorry, I want to mention this guy Kabai. Kabai, like he's a decent heavyweight. He's a French heavyweight. He's a decent heavyweight, and he has been bypassed, literally bypassed, because he won his fights. He beat that big, strong Russian guy. I don't know if you remember it. That
You talking about Caballero?
Caballero. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, is it Caballero? Yes, Caballero. Yes, Caballero. Yeah, Caballero. Yes, it is. Yes, he beat that massive. He beat that massive.
Magic Caballero, you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, we
He,
did. Yeah, he's a
yeah,
very good boxer.
yeah, he's been glossed over. He's been
Yeah, no one wants to
people.
fight him.
No one wants to fight him because he done so well against that massive dude, boy.
Yeah,
Like
he did. Yeah,
but
mullered him. He absolutely mullered him.
yeah. So back to that, like ultimately, if you can't get past Dave Allen, unfortunately, that's where your career is going to stop. Unfortunately, you basically become a journeyman yourself now.
His
Basically,
confidence, I think so. Yeah, his confidence must be shot to pieces.
yeah,
Johnny
yeah,
Fisher now, he's still young. He's only 26. But what I didn't understand last night when he was fighting was he kept doing this with his left hand, right? So
yeah,
he could have popped the jab more off all, but he kept doing this thing. He thought he was Klitschko, trying to block his vision or whatever. And I
yeah,
just
yeah,
thought, what are you doing?
yeah,
Can you not throw 3, 4 punch combinations? And then also Dave Allen took the centre of the ring and just walked through all his shots.
yeah,
When he pinged the 1-2 in, Dave Allen was laughing at him. And then when those feints were coming in at first, he was reacting to the feints. And after, he wasn't reacting to the feints. Well, go on and punch me, you clown. This is easy. And then I
yeah,
saw Dave Allen after. And he said, that were too easy, mate. That were too easy.
yeah.
It were too easy for me in there, mate. I could have
Yeah.
done it any time I wanted to, mate, he said.
Yeah, and you felt that because he caught him early, and I think it was the third round. He caught him with a big shot, and it was just towards the end of the fight, and he sort of stumbled. The main thing I would say with these boxers, if you don't have a good Dave Allen technically isn't the best boxer. Like he's a walk through your kind of fight. They call him the Rhino. He's a strong man. He can take his licks. But if you've got a strong jab and you've got good foot movement, you can pop him. You can pop him in the nose the whole fight, basically.
Yeah,
But you have to be good enough to be able to get away from his rights and get away from the hooks that he's going to throw at you.
yeah,
It just looked like he looked like the bigger, stronger man in there, more technically savvy in terms of his movement and stuff. And ultimately, he literally walked him down, and like you said, he could have done him any time.
yeah,
If you don't have a strong enough jab to win fights, you better have a big right hand, and it didn't look like he had either. And he
yeah.
looked scared.
He
He looked
looks
really
scared.
scared. Like, when someone's walking towards you, you're like,
Yeah,
most people will tell you, you fucking plant that jab in his nose, mate. Make him,
yeah,
don't let him walk through
yeah,
you like that.
yeah.
Fuck his nose right up, and yeah, it just didn't happen.
He
Just
looks
didn't
scared.
happen.
Well, maybe the reason why he was scared is because that overhand right was brilliant that
Yeah,
rocked his head. And then I thought the left hook underneath the right elbow and the right hook underneath the left elbow sensational. And then when he put his freaking hands down, in come a tiny uppercut, and then he rendered this freaking left hook and sent his freaking jaw that way. His brain stayed there, and poor Johnny Fisher fell on his front. Let's hope Johnny Fisher's all right. And I just want to point out as well that Dave Allen also blew his eardrum as well, which is the same injury what Johnny Fisher complained about last time, which apparently was the reason why he found the fight so difficult because of his, which is going to be a horrible injury, isn't it? But Dave
Yep.
Allen had the same last night. But
This
Dave
is the
Allen's a warrior, mate. Fair
yeah.
play to him. I love it.
I feel like maybe he needs, like, he needs to be careful because his style of boxing isn't hit and not get hit. His
Yeah,
style of fighting is
hit, hit.
use my head to block all the punches
Yeah,
and just keep going forward.
yeah,
So
but it's not as bad as Joe Joyce because he catches a lot. He does catch a lot,
yeah,
right?
Joyce,
Not as bad as
Joyce.
Joe Joyce, yeah,
Yeah, he got found out, didn't he? Like
yeah,
he just once that chink was broken with him,
yeah,
that's it. Like he never got it back, and
yeah,
it was always just a matter of time as well. Like you can't use your head to just walk through punches, mate. Especially not in the heavyweight division, you just can't do it. And this is people, like, people are saying the same about Chisora at the minute. Like, should he take more fights? Like, but Chisora is still going. He battered Dave Allen, like,
yeah,
but he was talking about trying to get a fight with Dubois. And it's funny, Dylan White's reaction was like, freaking Dubois would probably kill him, like
yeah,
literally, like,
yeah,
literally.
yeah,
And
probably, yeah,
it's the heavyweight scene, it's okay at the minute. Like the Sheikh, he never minced his words when he said he'd prefer boxing be a better place if there was black heavyweights, more flamboyant. Usyk's kind of killed the division a little bit. Like, he hasn't killed it. Like, he's killed the glamorized side to it because we're used to heavyweights being a bit flamboyant, like, a bit something about a bit extroverted. But he's just like, God, pray, Ukraine, and
Well,
boxing.
I'd like to remind you, Turkey Al Sheikh, Your Excellency, that Tyson Fury's white, and you were a big fan of Tyson Fury, and you've called him the most entertaining guy and all this stuff before. He's done that before, mate.
Yeah,
He's done that before.
yeah.
Like I know what you're saying. I think Usyk is boring and he's crap on social media.
Yeah, and English is very, like, English is very key. It's very rare, like, unless you've got that, unless he had a sort of different sort of aura about him.
Yeah,
Like Drago style. I
yeah,
kill you. I
yeah,
destroy you. If it was stuff like that, then maybe you get behind it a little bit. But
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
Sorry, yeah. I'm Phil. I'm Phil. Do you
yeah.
remember that when you say
Yeah,
it
I
all the
remember
time?
it. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Phil. How you feeling about the fight? I'm Phil.
And very,
I'm
yeah.
very Phil.
But he's battered them all. He's battered them all. His boxing does a talking, but I think
Indeed.
boxing would be a lot bigger, as you point out, with a more
A more
flamboyant, better character. With
yeah.
that, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, indeed. Let's move on to the YouTuber fight. Finishing off with the YouTuber fights. We had Modine, social media influencer, versus Wakey Wines. What did you think of the fights, first of all?
Hmm. I'm a boxing fan, so I have to take my boxing hat off when I watch those sorts of fights because I just find it disrespectful to the sport. And I admire boxing a lot and admire professional boxers a lot. So I just want to make that my very first point. But at the same token, well done to the two lads for getting in.
Yeah,
I thought their shape is a disgrace. To see men like that fighting is a disgrace. They're rotund lads. Like, they're not athletes as far as I'm concerned. They've got no skill at all. They've got no boxing IQ whatsoever. So I just find it a bit difficult to watch as a boxing fan. I have to really remove myself from being a fan and just go, oh, look at these guys doing some
uh,
WWF. This is
and
fun.
and here's something that will piss you off even more. Like, they probably got paid more
Yeah,
than
yeah,
most guys, most amateurs
yeah,
that fought that weekend,
yeah,
fought this weekend.
yeah,
Just gone. Like,
yeah.
they probably got paid more than them.
Yeah, the combination punching was diabolical. The cardiovascular levels were disgusting. The foot
Yeah.
movement was terrible. The everything about it. But good luck, good on the lads for being entertaining for their
Yeah.
fans. Because I've
What
looked into both their social medias now. But God, what did you think of the fight, Brad? What did you think?
I saw Wakey Wines training, and he was hitting the pads. And this is something that, so I've had a couple of like amateur sort of white collar fights and stuff, and I've been around sparring and boxing and stuff like that. And I've always, when I've seen a fight, I know how the fight's gonna end when you've got an amateur, and this is the key tell, like when someone's just not prepared and they shouldn't be in a fight. So boxing, you're meant to have a lead hand. Your jab hand's meant to be in front of you. Your jab hand is meant to lead the way with everything that you do. But when you see, when I saw that Wakey Wines guy hitting the mitts, hitting the pads, he had his jab hand out, but it wasn't far enough, and also the right hand was like you can just tell he just wanted to throw the right hand, which what happens in the fights with two total novices when they start boxing, two people that shouldn't be in the boxing ring. That's what tends to happen. If you like, for me as a trainer, whoever trained them, I would say to them, like, I would literally get some sellotape and sellotape their right hands to their fucking jaws like this, and I'll say, you don't touch that fucking. This hand ain't moving.
Yeah,
Jab,
yeah,
move to stand on your side step. Just jab. It's not boxing. Isn't hard, but when you haven't done the training, you don't have the discipline. You just you're fighting with anger and passion rather than technical ability. Like any one of them, if they would have just been training on keeping one hand up like that and just on their toes, jab, jab,
yeah,
jab, moving, slipping,
yeah,
ducking under,
yeah.
pivoting left and right, like
I
jab,
don't, I
jab.
don't think their bicep would allow for that, and I don't think their lateral movement would allow for any ducking or diving at all. It's just they're not they're not athletes. These are just rotund fellas having a cuddle, whatever.
Yeah,
A couple of teddy bears having
yeah,
a cuddle. I mean,
yeah,
any decent boxer would step over that front foot, drop down, straight right, straight through their. I was looking at their stomachs, thinking,
yeah,
you know what? If I was fighting you guys, I'd be looking at your solar plexuses, and I'll tell you what, I'd be going straight through that and straight through your spine.
yeah,
That's what I'd be thinking.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you look at them. Look at them. They're not. It's not like Dave Allen, who's thick set with
Yeah,
with 2 inches on him.
that's
Right?
that's literally it.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's very deceiving when you see people that are quite that, because there's all types of physiques, but sometimes there's lean people that stay lean, they just put muscle on, and
yeah.
then there's more thicker guys, like probably exactly the same, to be honest with you. Like when people see me, they probably think I'm like a
You're
lot
quite
like
built. Yeah, but you're
they
quite built. You've got the old. You're
yeah,
quite
yeah,
built.
yeah. I've
Aren't
got the shoulders, but my stomach is like it's not like it's not. It's weird. It's like I'm like skinny kind of fattish sort of thing. But when people see it, they could probably think, oh yeah, his belly's really big. But if you used to feel my stomach is like stones. Like it's like iron. Like I've had people in the gym. I used to fight people all the time. I used to just put my hands up like that, and I used to just let them work my stomach, and I'd literally just laugh at them. It was only until I fought an amateur guy, and I thought I could walk through him. My brother gave me one uppercut in the solar plex, bro, and I was like, literally,
you?
like, I'm like, and then yeah, from there it was like, yeah, you have to be a bit careful, and
I just wonder if one day, with such a lack of skill demonstrated by those two guys, if one day someone's going to get smashed in the Adam's apple, or
this is the problem. This is the
you know
problem. An
someone might
injury,
die.
and this influencer boxing is a trend at the minute. Everyone thinks boxing is everyone thinks boxing's good. They see the Rocky movies, they watch the freaking Prince Nazim highlights, and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna get into it. Someone will die in this influencer boxing.
Yeah,
1,000%. Someone will die. It's only a matter of time. Just give it a matter of time. People think that you can play boxing. Boxing's no joke. It's the hurt game. It's literally the hurt game. You got to take the licks. One punch. It just takes one punch in the head. Just one. One punch in the head. You
but
get a bleed on the brain. You go home. You don't get the scan for it, and you die. That's it.
I don't think people understand, in the same way people don't understand Formula One drivers and how fast they take corners at 90
Jeez.
miles an hour. People don't understand that because
Mm.
they see it on TV and it looks like all the cars are going like the cars outside. No. Well, my friend Chris Truman, the Trumanator, who fought against Conor Benn, when he invited me to come, well, he didn't invite me. He just said, when I come down, Nicky, he said, I'm bringing some head guards and I need you to get a gum shield. Right? And I was like, okay, I didn't want to say no to him. I said, well, what on earth are we doing? He goes, well, we're going to have a bit of a go, me and you, Nicky. I'm going to show you some stuff because he's a professional freaking boxer, you see, right? And then after this conversation ensued, I sort of said to him, listen, mate, I'm not too comfortable with requiring the gum shield. Why ever would I need a gum shield if we're mates, right? He goes, oh, it's okay, Nicky. You're just going to throw some punches at me for 6 rounds. He said, I won't throw a single punch. He said, I'll headbutt your punches, he said to me, right? Because he headbutts my punches because he's a professional boxer.
Yep.
So he headbutts my punches, people. Do you understand what I'm saying? And another friend of mine, people, he does white collar like Brad C. He has to wrap his hands in the gym, people. Do you understand? Like when I go to the gym and I pretend I'm Muhammad Ali and I start going, when I'm hitting the bag, that's a pum-pum hitting the bag, people.
Mm.
A professional boxer has to wrap their hands on the mess around bag that I go in the gym. Otherwise, their bones go. And
Yeah.
I just don't think people really understand or respect enough that how hard professional boxers are. Their speed. You look at Dave Allen last night, that combination he put together in slow motion,
Yeah.
right? And you look at his core
Yeah.
and how he's driving these punches. He's gone underneath, he's gone underneath, he's gone up with the uppercut, and he's come round again. And you look at the shape and you look at the speed that he done it. I am mesmerised by it because in
Yeah.
slow motion, it looks really fast. Like Johnny Fisher cannot cope; it's too fast. By the time you've reacted to that one, and you're open here like a can of worms,
Yeah.
I think the thing's beautiful. But going back to what we're talking about now, this influencer boxing
Oh.
match, Brod, where I've really marvelled at the boxing skill. KSI or Jake Paul, none of them. I've never really. You could say that guy. What's that guy who's Vidal, who's now taking it
Yeah.
seriously?
Yeah.
But he's not an influencer boxer. I believe when he was younger, he was also an amateur boxer. I think he was possible GB team and all this
Yeah.
type of stuff.
Yeah.
He's not Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
You
got
know?
he's got a little bit of pedigree there, isn't it?
But can I just bring up a point that you said before and dig you on it more? Because you said about influencer boxing and the money they earn. How do you feel? You're a boxing fan as well. How do you feel about that? Do you feel any way about it?
Uh, I mean, what can you do other than if you can't beat them, join them? Like like Tyson, like what's his name?
Darren Till and
No, Tyson
Fury,
Fury's
yeah,
Tyson Fury's brother. What's his name? What's his name?
Tommy,
Tommy Fury. Like he's made millions, like
yeah,
millions
yes,
from
yeah.
fighting KSI and fighting fucking Jake Paul. Millions,
He won't
and
get brain damage, will he?
he will no, and literally he in his mind he's saying to himself. In his mind, he's saying to himself, "Why on earth would I get in?" People are saying because people are pushing him. Oh, you're not a proper boxer. He doesn't care. He's getting paid millions to fight. Like, who's going to pay him millions to fight in boxing? So I feel like boxing will adjust to the times. Like, people will adjust to the times. People will say, "Wait a minute, you're trying to tell me like because if you're an amateur boxer." Like an amateur boxer, you've been through the system, say like from 13 to 18 or 19 even, you're good enough. You're good enough to sort of like pump up everyone everyone basically in this
Influence
influencer boxing
boxing.
world. You may as well just sort of like keep it on the low,
Yeah,
start making funny videos online, start roasting the FA Cup, and then you get yourself a fight.
I've heard them saying it down the gym. There was a young lad. He's got a good few years on me, and
Mm.
he's a good fighter. People know him around here for being a good fighter. I said, "How's your fighting career going?" He said, "Nick, I've got an idea." He said, "I'm going to go under the radar, and I'm going to keep as fit as I can, and make more money as an influencer boxer than these idiots who are getting brain damage."
Yeah.
That's what he said to me.
Yeah, 100%, and that makes sense.
It
That
does.
does make sense, because boxing, boxing's a sport where I would say the fighters care about money. It's about payday. I like, especially, it's less about winning world titles and
Belts are irrelevant in boxing.
yeah,
So
Commonwealth titles. Fuck the belts. Give me the money. Like,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that will be the attitude. Obviously, if it comes to like unifying and stuff like that, if you get to that level, but
yeah.
if you're good enough for that level, then you're on a total different trajectory. Like, to most people, ain't gonna win shit. They're gonna be used as journeymen. They're gonna use to pad up records, and they're not gonna make money either. So
Tommy Fury is better paid than Beterbiev.
yeah, probably.
Jake Paul is the best paid boxer in the
Yeah,
world right
yeah,
now, bar,
yeah,
Javante Davis and one or two others. Like he is the best paid boxer, and that shows what a shambles the sport is in.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and some of these boxers must be thinking to themselves, "Why am I risking brain damage and stuff like that when I could just do what Darren Till was doing and make much more money?" Because if you look at the social media numbers on Darren Till and the fight that we're talking about with Wine and all that, they're much better than what we saw last night, even.
yeah. Yeah, social media. I'll say it again, is just the key to everything,
It
mate.
is.
If you're
It
not
is.
on social media, you're dead out here. Like no
We
one
tried
knows
to
who you are.
explain it. We tried to explain this to boxers. I set up a business trying to help boxers in social media 3 years ago because I saw this coming, and
Mm,
all I wanted to do was help them. They accused us of being scammers because they couldn't see it, and
mm.
now,
Yep, no, you're 100%, 100%. I've tried to poach. I've tried to poach a few guys as well. Like just and that, like there's one guy, like I sparred with him in my local gym. Like he's an amateur. He's a professional actually. He's had a couple of pro fights actually, and like he was saying to me, "Do you know how pissed off I am? I could fucking walk. I could run rings around Jake Paul if I wanted to.
yeah,
I could literally like batter him.
yeah,
Like, I could literally batter him." And these guys are earning millions. I'm sweating. I've got to work. I've got to do a job. Like so there's a lot of envy in these boxers. And like I say, if you can't beat them, join them. If you
yeah.
can't beat them, join them. You can't bitch about the market. The markets change every single day. Like you have to adjust with the winds, man. Otherwise, you're gonna get lost.
Well, I think a lot of these boxers have got the brains of a rocking horse when it comes to social media, and they are very disrespectful of social media without even realizing to be because they think they're above it.
Yeah.
I think because they go on Charlie Parsons and they go on these IFL TVs with 4,000 views, that's actually enough. It's not enough.
No.
You've
People
got
need
to
to,
get right
yeah,
out of it.
people need to believe in you. They need to buy your
Yeah,
story. They need something. Just like Dave Allen's a classic example of that. Eddie Hearn done so well with him to get him all those fights. Some people will say maybe he used him a little bit because my guy fought Luis Ortiz. Like he fought everyone. Like just yeah, fuck it, I'll fight him, Eddie. How much you gonna pay me? You gonna buy me a house? Okay, I'll go fight him. Like so. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think
yeah.
that's about enough for the roundup of sports today, sir. It's been inspirational. Expect to get a lot of hate on those FA Cup comments. I would expect, guys.
2 million. 2
That was
million.
him. Nicky knew that was him. You go get him, guys. Nicky, I'll let you end it, sir.
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you to Brod C. And yeah, do honestly, guys, get involved and talk to us. If you disagree with anything that we say or agree with anything we say, we'd love to hear from you, and we will discuss your points on the next sports show for sure. And if there's anything you want myself and Brod C to talk about, we'd be delighted to. You just tell us. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Peace and love, people. Have a fabulous morning. Bum 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 bum. Let's just end this.